Who's speaking at Podcast Movement from Toronto in Canada, the latest from podnews.net with co-host, powerful podcast hosting for agencies and brands. The first set of speakers has been announced for Podcast Movement 2023 in Denver in Colorado. I'm going, and I like moderating panels, just saying. Anyway, you'll find a list at podcastmovement.com. Triton Audio Marketplace now lets advertisers book ads on broadcast radio and streaming alongside podcasts. The company claims it as an industry first. Broadcast radio inventory includes iHeartMedia's 850 stations, and it'll shortly add 3,000 stations represented by Katz Media. The company suggests that making advertising easier to buy will benefit all parts of the industry. Snipd has launched a ChatGPT-powered feature that automatically summarizes the key points from podcasts you listen to. We'll link to an example of the Pod News Daily, this show from yesterday. You can join the waitlist on the Snipd website, but we've got a link for you that puts you at the front of the queue. Find that in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Podchaser has launched Collections Plus, an AI-powered tool to help advertisers to better reach specific audiences. Spotify is to make more of its exclusive shows available on other platforms. Armchair Expert became a Spotify exclusive in July 2021 in a 3-year deal, but Bloomberg reports it'll shortly be available elsewhere. The Infinite Dial 2023 Australia will be presented on June the 27th. The data from Edison Research contains the gold standard number for how many people listen to podcasts in the country. PRX and Sonic Union have formed a partnership and launched a branded content division named PRX Productions. Meanwhile, Audion has launched a branded content division named Audion Stories, and branded content company, Jar Audio, wants bad reviews for its new podcast. The show, How to Get Ahead in Podcasting, presents a ludicrous and deeply incorrect view of the branded podcasting industry, at least if you don't listen right to the end, that is. The Washington Post has published an immersive deep dive into the story behind one of Brazil's hit podcasts from last year. The piece also adds new reporting. And Overhaul FM is a new podcast app for iOS and Android based on the Anytime podcast player code. The press release promises no ads and says it curates its featured podcasts. It goes on to offer podcasters the chance to pay $89 or more to advertise their podcast as a feature within the app. It doesn't support episode images or the serial tag and seems not to send a correct user agent, although we can't confirm that because our PodClock app testing feed doesn't play or display properly within the app anyway. 2 out of 10. And in podcast news, a TikTok star with over 2.5 million followers has launched her own podcast. Secret Mum Club with Sophia is new from Audio Always and is a totally anonymous place for parents to get things off their chest. And Perfect Pitch, Classical Music Deconstructed, is a fresh approach to classical music, providing original and accessible insights to its audience. A few weeks ago, the show focused on celebratory music used in the coronation of King Charles. This podcast is sponsored by Co-Host and Quill. Interested in which companies are listening to your podcast? Explore Co-Host's B2B analytics tool for companies and industries at cohostpodcasting.com. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.